Hi everyone, I'm Hannah and today we're going to be working on a balance and calm flow. So working on a lot of standing balancing postures. So your hammock can be a little bit higher than normal today, just as long as it's still around about your hip height. So let's get started. So we're going to start behind our hammock with our wrap on. So we're going to bring our hands around the front, cut through the middle, and hands come onto the fabric and rolling it down. So we're going to bring our feet just behind the hammock and our hands are about shoulder width apart. So dropping down the shoulders, you can bring them up to your ears and then back down. Standing nice and tall. You can shut down the eyes just for a moment. Inhale through the nose and exhale it out through the mouth. Inhale and exhale it out. Stay here for a few more moments. Just feeling the fabric in your hands. Just let your hands be weighed down by gravity. The hammock is holding you. Maybe you feel yourself rock just forward and back, just slightly. That's totally fine. Just feel that movement. Inhale, bring all your toes off of the mat. And then drop them back down one at a time from your pinky toe to your big toe. Grounding ourselves into the mat here. Feeling our balance, lifting tall with the neck and the head. Inhale, breathe it in, and exhale, release it out. One more breath here. Fluttering open the eyes. You can bring your hands together if that feels easier. We're going to put all of our weight onto our right foot. Bringing our left knee up, you can flex that foot. And then we're going to open that hip and just draw little circles with our knee. It's okay if we haven't got our balance quite yet, that's what we're going to be working on. So engage the abs here and roll the hip out, drawing circles with that knee. So opening up the hip, maybe your circles get a little bit bigger. It's okay if you're holding the hammock, just try not to put all of your weight onto it. We're trying to use our balance, use our abs, and let's roll it back the other way. So closing that hip this time. Opening it up. Really big circles now. See if you can focus on something in front of you. Feeling all four corners of your foot against the mat. One more breath here. And let's close that hip and place that foot back down. Find your grounding with your feet. Maybe you're bringing the toes up and placing them back down. Let's pull our weight into the left foot and repeat on the other side, bringing the right knee up. Flexing the, ooh, see, this is what we're working on. Opening up the hip. Keeping that foot flexed. Maybe you start small, maybe you start slow. And maybe we get a little bit bigger with our circles with that knee. Gauge the abs, make sure the shoulders are dropped down. Keep your chin lifted. One more breath here. Inhale and exhale. And let's go back the other way, closing the hip. Bringing that knee down. Little circles. Maybe our circle's a little bit bigger this time. So we've got our focus. Trying not to pull too hard on the hammock. Lifting our chest and our head up. One more breath. And let's close it back down. Bring that foot back to the earth. Okay, let's bring our feet about hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider. Inhale, roll down the shoulders, and exhale, release the hands out in front of us. Drop the head between the neck, and let's sweep it from side to side. Take a few breaths here, reaching with the hands all the way to one side, then all the way to the other. 2 more breaths. Just stretching out our side bodies here. And let's come back to the center and slowly roll it back up. Okay, so we're gonna come to a squat. So you can heel toe your feet just a little bit further out. Inhale, and exhale, bending it down, sitting that sit bone back, making sure that your knees aren't over your toes. And let's raise one foot, one heel at a time. So raising one up, placing it back down. Heel up, place back down. Heel up. It's a little bit of coordination, a little bit of balance, a little bit of burn. 2 more breaths. 2 more breaths. And last one. Come back down and let's raise both heels up. Work on our balance here, engage the abs. Bring the chest up. Check, are you pressing too much into the hammock? Can you sort of release it a little bit more? One more breath. And release the heels back down and let's bring it back up. Okay, so keeping the hands in our wrap, I'm just gonna turn to the side so you can see a little bit easier. We're gonna place all of our weight into our left foot and bring our right knee up. So again, engage the abs, drop down the shoulders, keeping ourselves nice and balanced here. We're gonna add on a wrap with that leg. So you can either come to a figure 4 pose. So your right ankle is just above your left knee. Or you can bend that knee and see if you can wrap the ankle around that leg and squatting it down. Release the arms out in front of us for a little bit more of a balance. Steadying the gaze. Keeping the chest lifted, drop down the shoulders, inhale. And exhale, release it out, holding here. It's okay if you wiggle. Sink it down just a little bit lower if you can. One more breath. Inhale, roll it back up. Release the leg. See if you can bring that knee up without touching the ground. And we're gonna exhale, release the foot back behind us. Extend the leg, flexing the right foot, extending the arms out into our warrior 3 pose. Holding here, you can have a micro bend in your left leg if you need to. Ooh, really working on our balance in these poses. Inhale, and exhale, release it out. See if you can extend a little bit further. One more breath here. Inhale, bringing the knee in, coming back up. See if you can keep that leg from touching the ground. I'm going to release it back out one more time, extending it all the way back. Keeping the balance. It's okay if we wiggle a little bit. This time, we're going to bring both pieces of fabric into your left hand. Option to stay here, just release the hand down, or see if you can grab that back leg and open it back out. So coming into our half dancers pose. Really good balance here. One more breath. Pressing the foot into the hand and release it back down. Whew, and we can pedal out our feet. Might be a little bit strained on our left leg there. Let's place that wrap back on. Place all of our weight into our right foot, bringing our left knee up, flexing that foot. Option to place it into our figure 4 pose, or to wrap the leg all the way around. See if you can get that foot sneaking around the back of your calf and extending it back out into our eagle pose, dropping down the shoulders, releasing it down. Drop the booty down. Inhale and exhale. See if you could sink it down just a little bit lower. Take a few more breaths. See if you can release the tension in your hammock. Ooh, as soon as I look over to the camera, I lose my focus. One more breath. And let's bring it back up and unravel that leg. See if you can keep that foot lifted. Inhale, drop down the shoulders. Exhale, flex the foot, extend it back out into our warrior three. You can add a micro bend in the standing leg, extending the arms out. A long line from our fingers to our heel. Take a few breaths here. Nice and strong and steady. Reaching the opposite sides of your room, wherever you might be. One more breath. And inhale, pull it back up. See if we can not put that leg on the ground. Working on our balance, just give ourselves a little bit of release before we go into the next pose. Whew. Inhale, exhale, release it all the way back out. Holding here, keeping that foot flexed, nice and strong. And if you're ready, place both poles of the fabric in your right hand. See if you can bend the back knee, grab a hold of that foot and open it out. Staying nice and strong and steady if you can, pressing into the foot, into the hand. Ooh! See, we all wiggle, we all fall. It's okay. It's just important to get back into it. There we go. Nice and strong and steady. One more breath. And release. Bring it back up and place the foot back down. Whew, nice work, guys. Okay, this time we're going to place our right foot into the fabric. So if you do have your fabric up a little bit higher, like I do, I'm just going to hop so you can see me a little bit better. Then to be working our hamstrings just a little bit more with this one. Okay, so making sure you're just behind your hammock, release the foot out. I'm going to hold on to the fabric and come up to the ball of our foot. And we're going to slowly extend out. It might only be a couple of inches, and then bring it back in. Extend it out, bring it back in. I'll show you on this side. Extend it out, slowly back in. So take a few breaths here, working on our balance, keeping our eyes and gaze lifted. If you're feeling really stable and strong, you can try this without your hands, depending how you're feeling. With your balance, I don't know if I'm there today. That's okay. You can try it, but today I am not very balanced, which is clearly why I need this class today. So take a few more breaths. And when you're ready, take your last one, hold it out just for a few breaths. Last one, and bring it back in. And you can drop that heel back down. So if you've moved a little bit, like I did, because I tried to move around the side, make sure that you're just behind the rigging point. We're going to bring that leg out to the side to work on our adductors. So we're opening up that hip, keeping our torso facing forward. Bring your right hand onto the fabric. We're going to release slowly out and bring it back in. So you might have a little more balance because we're not on our tiptoes for this one. Option also to go on your tiptoes if you want a little bit more of a challenge. But also an option to release the hands and really squeeze the thighs together. Extend out and bring it back in. So we're working a little bit more on our balance here. So extend it out, squeeze it back in, take a few more breaths. Option, of course, is to hold on to the fabric as well. Another option is to have a bend in that knee if you need to. One more breath here. And let's bring it back in. I'm gonna bend, turn that, internally rotate that hip and bring the foot behind us. Again, jumping so that you're just underneath the rigging point. We're gonna come into our dancer's pose. So you're bringing your hands up, holding onto the fabric with your thumbs down behind you. You can bend your elbows as much as you need. You might want to keep them high to start it off, or bending it all the way down, closer to your shoulder blades. We're gonna pull the elbows forward and push the foot into the fabric behind us. So I'll show you from this side, pulling the elbows forward, balancing, extending the leg back behind us, pushing into the fabric. So it's a lot of push and pull. You're pulling with your hands, pushing with your back leg. Take a few breaths. Keep your eyes lifted and steady in our dancer's pose, full dances. 2 more breaths. And slowly release it back down. Whew. Okay, so let's bring that leg back out to the side, rotate it back to the front, and you can either swap your legs however you like. This time I'm just gonna bring my hands high, my legs out in front, and swap the legs that way. Okay, so we're back on our left side. Let's repeat what we were doing before. So our hands come high and we come onto the ball of that foot. Show you from this side. There's a lot of jumping today. Hands come high, and we're just gonna slowly release it out. So for this one, making sure you're on the ball of that foot, make it a little bit harder. And you can clearly see which is my slightly more flexible side. Maybe I'm just a bit more warmed up. And again, if you're feeling super steady and strong, see if you can release the hands. I still don't know if I'm there with that one today. Release it out, squeeze the thighs, bring it back in. Keeping balanced as much as possible. Nice and stable. 2 more breaths. Last one. And let's drop that foot back down. A lot of hopping. So making sure you're under the rigging point. If you happen to have moved, we're gonna open that hip out to the side. So our hips are facing forward and our leg is out to the side. Bringing your left hand onto the fabric, and we're gonna slowly roll it out and squeeze the thighs to bring it back in. So just taking a few breaths here. And if you're feeling strong, you want to challenge, you can release the hands. Engage the abs, drop the shoulders down. Whew. Extend it out, bring it back in. Always the option to bring the hand back on if you need a little bit more support. Whew. 2 more breaths here. Keeping tall, balanced. And release it out, bring it back in, squeezing it in. We're gonna internally rotate that hip back behind us, dropping the knee down so the fabric is directly behind us. We're gonna come into our dancer's pose on the opposite side. Oh, my fabric is getting nice and twisted. So making sure that your foot is flexed in the fabric behind you. Bring your hands onto the fabric as high or as low as you need, close to your shoulder blades. Engage the abs, keep the hips facing forward. We're gonna pull our elbows forward and extend the back leg behind us. So you're pushing the back of your foot into the fabric and pulling the fabric over your head. Coming into our dances. Really nice back bend here. And of course, working our balance. 2 more breaths. Keep your eyes focused and steady. 1 more breath. And release it back down. Okay, let's release that back foot. And let's just bring our hands into the fabric in front of us. Bring our hands around about shoulder width apart. Inhale, drop it down, find your center. And exhale, pressing the chest towards the ground. Release the neck. Maybe even put a bend in the elbows. Just get a nice little sway. Just as a nice final stretch for this balancing class. And coming back to the center, let's slowly roll back up and release the hands.